There is a fairly new and incredibly broken way to level up your guns in just 20 to 30 minutes by using this new weapon XP method. I'm going to show you how to do it in this video. Obviously many of you will be aware of the Exfil file method for weapon XP in zombies that was previously around, but obviously this has been patched a little while ago and our Exfil sites have much for your zombie spawning, so it's no longer a viable method. However, this method I'm going to be talking about is still really good. It gives you unlimited zombies, lots of kills and easy weapon XP. It's especially good at the moment because there's a double weapon XP weekend, so it's worth using while it's around. If you're going to find this useful, be sure to drop a like on the video and make sure to check out my other Modern Warfare 3 guides. I've got a camo guides playlist, I've got zombie guides such as how to get a god mode friendly pet hellhound to keep you safe and revive you when you go down. If you want to check that out, I'll have links in the description and a card on screen, and be sure to subscribe so you stay up to date with all my latest weapon XP methods in Modern Warfare 3 as they're constantly kind of changing and you guys are going to want to stay on top so you don't miss out on any of the latest methods. Okay, so this is going to involve certain contracts in zombies. I'll explain which ones you want to do and exactly how you need to do it in this video so you can get weapon XP as fast and efficiently as possible. Before we get into the video, if you're looking to permanently unlock the new Modern Warfare 3 mastery camos including Interstellar and Borealis, or play in bot lobbies to max out your guns and unlock camos quickly, or even get your hands on an instant delivery pre-made account, then be sure to check out MitchCactus.com. These guys are the biggest and most reliable sellers with tons of brand new offerings for Modern Warfare 3 with completely safe and legitimate services for Xbox, PlayStation and PC. So far they have almost 10,000 reviews on Trustpilot. If any of that sounds good to you guys, then make sure to use code RAGER for 5% off for a limited time only. Before you start the game, there's a couple things you want to do. First of all, in zombies, you want to have the weapon you want to level up as your insured weapon. You then want to put on a field upgrade such as the energy mine, and what this does is it spawns an explosive, dealing massive damage to enemies who set it off. It's useful both to thin the zombie herds if you're getting overwhelmed, and it's also great for weapon XP too. And this is just because if you put it into large crowds, it will get rid of them all, and all of that XP will count towards your weapon. You also want to put on a Semtex grenade or another piece of lethal equipment, and what this will do is it again will blow up a pile of zombies, and that again will all count as not just XP but also weapon XP for your weapon. I'd also recommend putting on a stim or decoy grenade, so stim to heal yourself, or a decoy grenade if you want to keep the zombies preoccupied. You can throw it somewhere and it will distract them away from you so you can have a bit of time to replenish your armor, reload, that kind of thing. And finally, you want to make sure you're activating a weapon XP token if you have one to double the weapon XP earn rate and half the grind time. Currently it's double weapon XP weekend, but as soon as that's out of the way, you'll want to put this on. Okay, so jumping right into the method, I've got two different contracts which are really good for getting weapon XP in zombies. So the first one we'll talk about is the Outlast contract. Now this has got a little satellite dish symbol on the contract, so that's how you know which one it is. You can do this in any zone, although the tier 1 area is probably easier. And what you want to do is go to that area and you'll be asked to activate the PND and then kind of stay in that little area with all the ether crystals. It's like a purple zone, similar to like Hardpoint from multiplayer, and you basically just want to capture that area and the progress will go up from 0 to 100. Now just to clarify, when it gets to 100%, the contract will finish. So you don't want it to finish, you want to keep it running. And the way to do that is just make sure that capture rate doesn't get to 100%. So I'd recommend ideally doing it by yourself. Don't go in with random teammates, otherwise sometimes they'll try and capture it. I've also noticed that random other players can come along and kind of help you finish the contract, which is unfortunate, so there's no way to really stop that. But if you are playing with other people, you ideally want to be able to communicate with them to let them know not to help you finish the contract. So yeah, make sure it doesn't reach 100%. I aim for between 50 and 70% capture rate, as at that point more zombies will spawn in and it's going to kind of keep the amount of zombies you have spawning in a lot higher. Now all of the zombies will generally spawn in from one specific area, so if you notice where the zombies are coming from, try and head to that area, and you want to locate the spawn area for the zombies because they're going to repeatedly spawn throughout the entire match from that one area. So if you find that area, you can obviously just get close to it and just keep shooting them over and over again, so that as soon as they spawn from the ground you just shoot them, and just makes things a little bit quicker. So aim for 50 to 60%, something like that. Don't let it get too high, otherwise it again messes around with the spawns again and they'll switch. So just keep it in that one area, and the capture rate will go down again once you come off of the zone, but that's okay. Even if you get to 0%, you won't fail it, it'll be fine, and there's no time limit, so you just go on forever, and you know, as long as the contract's running, you get lots of zombies spawning in and get more kills, and therefore more weapon XP. Now there's a couple of issues with this contract. The first of all is that the hellhounds can actually cause quite a lot of damage sometimes because they'll be constantly spawning. There's loads of hellhounds for this contract, so they'll constantly keep spawning in, and when they come up to you they can cause you damage, and they're quite quick, but also even if you shoot them they'll then do a little fire explosion, and that can cause a lot of damage if you're in that radius. So what I'd recommend doing is putting on PhD flopper perk, so either buy that from the machine, buy it from the Wonder Fizz area, or you can spawn in with one, or you can get them from contracts and things like that, or if you've got one on your inventory already, that's great. Just make sure you ideally get a PhD flopper perk if you can, because this reduces all explosive damage, including that kind of fire burst that you get when the hellhound dies from the hellhounds. So once you shoot them, they're going to die and then it'll do a little fire explosion. That will be greatly reduced once you have this perk, and it makes you much less likely to take fire damage and die. So I'd highly recommend having that on if you can. It just makes things a little bit easier against the hellhounds. The second thing is you can get overwhelmed sometimes if you're getting close to the spawn area, so I'd recommend having a self revive and or stims on, and if you can, the other perks would be be useful would be ones like speed cola and stamina up, just so you can reload faster and you're running around faster so you won't get hit by zombies. You'll be able to run away from the crowds. My other tips would just be to try and get headshots or conserve ammo early in the game, because you'll have much less ammo and it'll be easier to kill the zombies, and that way you'll waste less bullets. So every now and then when you kill a zombie, they'll drop an ammo pack. There'll be quite a lot of them after a while, but to start off with it'll be slower because there'll be less zombies. So just try and get some headshots early on to conserve the ammo and kill the zombies more quickly. And like I say, later on you'll accrue lots of ammo packs, so just make sure you pick them up. Try not to get cornered, avoid the nuke power-ups, and make sure you're using other useful power-ups such as the insta-kill, as this means obviously you only need one bullet to kill the zombies, so it's much easier to kill them and you get the kills and therefore weapon XP faster. Now the thing is with this contract is that when you hit about 750 kills, you'll hit a cap, and after that point the rate at which you earn weapon XP for getting zombie kills greatly reduces. So at that point you're going to want to finish this contract. And when you're finished, what I'd recommend doing is heading to the nearest Exfil point. This should be relatively free of friendly players now, as the Exfil method is much less popular. People aren't doing that for weapon XP anymore, and therefore they're going to be relatively empty. So head to the nearest Exfil point. There'll still be a fair amount of zombies, especially towards the end of the game, so it is worth doing one round of Exfil. You'll get a little bit of XP for that, which is good, but obviously you'll then be able to leave the match with all your stuff and then just repeat the process. So definitely worth doing. Again, make sure you use a gun, your lethal equipment, any sort of kill streaks like a sentry turret, and your energy minefield upgrade for weapon XP, both in the contract and also when you're exfilling, just because all of that kind of will count towards weapon XP. So don't just focus on using your gun, because obviously it's easier when you use other methods as well to take out the zombies. So that's the first method, relatively simple. Now I want to talk about the second method, which is great too. So this is the spore control contract. It's a little sort of egg symbol on the contract, and for those of you that aren't familiar with the contract, basically what you need to do is there'll be 6 zombie spores, which are basically look like eggs, in a specific region, and they'll have a little purple ring around them. Those spores will have a shell which is impenetrable to bullets, so you can't shoot them. So what you need to do instead is you'll be given a blue toolbox. Head to that as part of the contract, so head to that area and you'll be able to pick up a bunch of inhibitors. Now these inhibitors are like tactical equipment that you can place down near the zombie spores, and once you place it within that purple ring around a spore, it will send pulses to temporarily kind of disrupt that outer spore shell, which allows you to shoot it and destroy the spore, although you won't want to do that just yet, and I'll explain why. And doing this for all 6 will obviously complete the contract. So that's the contract, but you guys need to understand a few important things about how best to use this contract and what to avoid. So first of all, when you pick up all of these inhibitors, I'd recommend picking up all of them in one go, so you can equip 2 of them and then stow the rest of your inventory rather than having to keep coming back and forth. And what you want to do is you want to place one of these down at each of these spores, causing the zombies to spawn in. So they won't spawn in until you put the inhibitor down, so you want to put them down at all of the zones, basically causing loads of zombies to keep spawning in. Now like I say, similar to the Outlast contract, the aim is not to complete the contract, so you want to keep it going, meaning the zombies will be spawning the whole game from start to finish. Now after a while the inhibitor will stop working and the spore shell will kind of return again, it will come back, causing the zombies to stop spawning in. Hence what you need to do is you need to place down another inhibitor device to restart the process once that spawn shell has returned. Now managing all 6 spores can be really timely. It can waste a lot of time or effort on getting zombie kills for weapon XP. You know, you don't want to keep going down and putting inhibitors at all of the spores. So what I'd recommend doing is focusing on about 2 to 3 spores and destroying the rest of them. It shouldn't affect zombie spawn numbers too much, because you're still going to get constant supply of zombies from the ones that are left. So don't worry about that too much, but I would destroy 2 to 3 if you can, and only kind of focus on the ones that are closer together. So if there's one like really far apart from another one, you want to destroy the further apart ones and leave sort of 2 to 4 spores that are close together. If they're all close together, that's fine, but just destroy the more outer ones that are more difficult to get to, because it just wastes a bit of time. So destroy a few, keep the rest of them, and it will make your grind a little bit more efficient. Now obviously you want to avoid shooting the spore once it's exposed, you know, from the inhibitor, or you'll lose the zombies spawning from that area and you'll then become a step closer to completing the contract, which is what you don't want. So destroy the other ones, but the ones you actually want to keep, don't destroy them, and just keep putting the inhibitor devices down every time they stop working. Now once you run out of inhibitor devices, you can then go to an ammo reserve and pick up 2 more, but bear in mind there is a cooldown period when getting these from the ammo reserves. But what I noticed is every time when I was maintaining like 2 or 3 different spores, by the time the inhibitors that I used had run out, I could then get more and the cooldown had gone away. So it's about enough time for you to put them down, and then the cooldown will go away, and then you can get more of them from the ammo reserve and so on. Now once again, like with the Outlast contract, make sure you're using your gun, your lethal equipment, your kill streaks like any sentry turrets or anything, and an energy minefield upgrade for weapon XP. So don't just use one thing, use everything. It will all count for weapon XP and it will help control the number of zombies. If you get a pile of them, the energy minefield upgrade is great for taking them out. Other tips are the same as for the Outlast contract, so get headshots and conserve ammo early on to kind of keep the ammo, and then later on, once lots of zombies have died, you can pick up armor and ammo and stuff like that. Don't get cornered, avoid the nuke power-ups, and use the insta kills to kill zombies more quickly. And once again, there will be a cap of about the same, about 750 kills in this method. So once that contract's finished, you'll then want to exfil. So do 1 round of exfil, that'll be relatively empty, go to the nearest exfil point, kill all the zombies there, exfil, leave the map with all your stuff, and then just repeat the process. And again, with that exfil point, use your gun, lethal equipment, kill streak streaks, and your energy minefield upgrade. So that is pretty much it. That's currently the best weapon XP method in Modern Warfare 3 Zombies. Shouldn't take you too long at all to level up your weapon with this method. I hope you guys found this useful. If you did, be sure to drop a like on the video, subscribe for all my latest Modern Warfare 3 Zombies guides. I've got camo guides playlist, and I've got weapon XP methods coming all the time, so you want to stay up to date with the latest ones, so definitely worth subscribing. If you want to check out how to be much safer in zombies, how to get instantly revived when you're down without having to have a self-revive, and be protected by your dog, then check out my guide on how to get these god tier friendly pet hellhounds in Modern Warfare 3 Zombies. Check out that video if you guys need. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.